Let me ask you something. If someone told you that the state of Florida, by law, allows everyday investors to earn up to 18% annual interest on a debt secured by real property, would you want to know how? Because that's exactly what tax lien certificates are. And the reason most people have never heard of them has nothing to do with how complicated they are. It has everything to do with the fact that nobody talks about them. My name is Cole Mercer. I've been investing in Florida tax liens for years. And what started as something I stumbled across became one of the most consistent, straightforward investing strategies I've ever used. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know to get started. From what a tax lien certificate actually is, to how Florida auctions work, to what you should look for before you ever place a bid. Let's get into it. Before I break down the strategy, let me tell you how I got here, because I think it's going to sound familiar to a lot of you. I got into real estate the traditional way, bought a property, had tenants, dealt with everything that comes with that, late payments, repairs, the whole thing. And look, rental income is real, but so is the headache. I kept thinking there had to be a way to put money into real estate without all of that attached to it. That's when I found tax lien investing, and specifically, Florida. Florida has one of the most investor-friendly tax lien structures in the country. The interest rate is set by state statute. The process runs through county government, and the market is massive, which means opportunity is never hard to find. Once I understood how the system worked, I went from skeptical to all in pretty fast. And eventually that led to being part of building Flip, Florida Lien Investing, a platform and community built specifically to help investors like you research, learn, and execute this strategy without having to figure it all out alone. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning. So what exactly is a tax lien certificate? Here's the simplest way to understand it. Every property owner in Florida is required to pay property taxes. When they don't, the county still needs that money to fund public services, schools, roads, emergency services. So instead of waiting on the property owner, the county sells the right to collect that debt to outside investors. That's you. You step in, pay the outstanding tax bill on behalf of the property owner, and in return, Florida law entitles you to collect that amount back plus up to 18% annual interest when the owner redeems the certificate. The certificate itself is secured by the property. That means if the owner never pays, you may have a path to apply for a tax deed, which can lead to ownership of the actual property. So to summarize, you're not buying a house, you're buying a debt, a county-issued, government-processed debt that earns you interest while you wait. Now, is it completely risk-free? No investment is. There are things you need to evaluate before you buy a certificate. Property condition, location, redemption likelihood, these all matter. And that's exactly the kind of due diligence we walk through inside the Flip platform and community, so you're never going in blind. Now let's talk about how you actually get your hands on one of these certificates. Florida counties hold tax certificate auctions once a year, typically in May or June, though timing varies by county. These are now conducted online, which means you don't have to be physically present anywhere to participate. Here's how the bidding works, and this part is important. Unlike most auctions where you bid the price up, Florida tax lien auctions work in reverse. You bid the interest rate down. The certificate starts at 18%. Investors compete by offering to accept a lower interest rate. Whoever bids the lowest rate wins the certificate. So if you bid 11% and someone else bids 9%, they win. Now you might be thinking, why would I want to win at a lower rate? And that's the right question. The strategy is finding certificates where the redemption likelihood is high and the property has real value. So even at a lower rate, your return is solid and your risk is managed. This is where research becomes everything. Knowing which certificates are worth bidding on and at what rate is the skill. Inside Flip, we have tools built specifically to help you research Florida certificates before auction day. So when you show up to bid, you're not guessing. You're making an informed decision with data behind it. Let's talk about due diligence, because this is where a lot of beginners either get it right or get burned. Before you bid on any Florida tax lien certificate, there are 4 things you need to evaluate. Number 1, the property itself. What type of property is it? Residential, commercial, vacant land? Improved properties, meaning there's a structure on them, generally carry less risk than raw vacant land. Number 2, location. A certificate on a property in a high-demand area of Florida is a very different investment than one in a rural county with low activity. Location drives redemption likelihood. Number 3, the outstanding tax amount relative to the property value. You want to make sure the certificate amount makes sense against what the property is actually worth. This protects you if you ever end up in the deed application process. Number 4, existing liens or encumbrances. Are there other issues attached to the property that could complicate things down the road? This requires a little research, but it matters. Now, doing all of this manually, county by county, property by property, can take a lot of time. That's one of the core problems Flip the platform was built to solve. Aggregating the data, surfacing the details, and putting the research tools in one place so you can evaluate certificates faster and with more confidence. So let me tell you a little about what we've built at Flip. The Florida Lien Intelligence Platform, Flip, is a SaaS tool built specifically for Florida tax lien investors. It pulls together the data you need to research certificates, evaluate properties, and make informed decisions before you ever place a bid. But beyond the platform, what I'm most proud of is the community. Inside the Flip School community, you'll find investors at every level, people who are exactly where you are right now, and people who've been doing this for years. You can ask questions, share what you're learning, and get real answers from people in the trenches. The classroom has a full foundations module, Tax Lien and Deed Investing Foundations, that walks you through the entire strategy step by step. And we do live calls, regular Zoom sessions where we dig into real examples, answer questions, and keep you moving forward. If you're serious about learning this strategy, this is the place to do it. Everything in one community, built specifically for Florida. Look, tax lien investing isn't magic. It takes learning, it takes research, and it takes showing up consistently. But it is one of the most accessible, legally protected, and genuinely underutilized investing strategies available in Florida right now. And the best time to start learning it is before the next auction cycle, not after. The link to join the Flip community is in the description below. It's where the Foundations module lives, where the replays are, and where a growing group of investors is putting this strategy to work. Come join us. Ask your questions. Start building. I'm Cole Mercer, this is Flip, and I'll see you inside.